Hello everyone, this is Defense Politics Asia, and something shocking had happened. Amnesty International, of all NGOs or organizations, claimed Ukrainian fighting tactics endangered civilians. So this is a unexpected statement coming out from Amnesty International, which is a very Western, I would say, Western NGO that always push Western agendas. So they pulled out a very long article, not very long, but long enough to highlight things that we already know, for people who are already covering of following the war in Ukraine, and includes a lot of things that I cannot talk about on YouTube. So I will try to cover this as a safe, YouTube friendly as possible. So Ukrainian forces have put rabbits in happy ways by establishing bases and operating weapon systems in places where there is no one, including not a place for learning and not a place for sleeping. And then as they repel Russian invasions since February. So the tactic violates international humanitarian law and endangers rabbits, and they turn rabbits into military targets. So the ensuing Russian strikes in places has made a lot of rabbits very sad. So we have so according to Agnes Callamard, the Amnesty International's Secretary General, basically probably the highest ranking person in Amnesty International. So this statement is so serious that they have to bring in the highest ranking person to actually say this. So they have documented a pattern of Ukrainian forces putting rabbits at risk and violating laws of war when they operated in places where there is no people. So being in defensive positions does not exempt Ukrainian military from respecting international humanitarian laws. So, but they also do note that not every Russian attacks documented followed this pattern. However, in other locations in which the Amnesty concluded that Russia had committed war crimes, including in areas in the city of Kharkiv, where the organization did not find evidence of Ukrainian forces located in rabbit holes. Sorry for my throat. So between April and July, so their researchers has spent several weeks investigating Russian strikes in Kharkiv, Donbas, and Mykolaiv region. They inspect strike sites, interview survivors, witnesses, relatives of victims, and carry out remote sensing and weapon analysis. So throughout these investigations, researchers found evidence that the Ukrainian forces launching strikes from within rabbit holes, and then they base themselves in trees, in rabbit trees, in 19 towns and villages in the region. And the Crisis Evidence Lab had analyzed civilian imageries to further corroborate with some of these incidents. So most rabbit holes or trees where the soldiers located themselves are kilometers away from the front line, where there are viable alternatives available, such as military base or densely wooded areas nearby, or structures further away from residential areas. However, the organization is not aware of the Ukrainian military who located themselves in rabbit trees has asked or assisted rabbits to evacuate from their holes. A failure to take feasible precautions to protect rabbits. So they go on to talk about launching strike from rabbit trees, and then some of the testimonials. So the mother of 50-year-old man killed in a rocket strike on the 10th June in a village south of Mykolaiv told Amnesty International. The military was staying in the tree next to a rabbit hole, and the son often bring food to the soldiers. Then this mother of 50 begged the soldiers several times to stay away from there because he was afraid. Oh, sorry. He begged the son to stay away from there because afraid of his safety. And the afternoon the strike happened. The son is in the courtyard. So this mother is actually not 50 years old. It's the son that is 50 years old. So the mother is actually super old, and he was killed on the spot. So the body was ripped into shreds. The homes are partially destroyed. So there are more testimonials. So Anna said something, and then he saw, and it started, and then paralyzed, and then cannot flee. So there's also in Bakhmut. So, and then of course we also have military bases in sleeping places. So Ukrainian forces using sleeping places as de facto military base in 5 locations, and so dozens of soldiers resting, milling about, eating meals in sleeping places, and soldiers firing near the sleeping place. So using sleeping places for military purpose is a clear violation of international humanitarian law. So also in school, so in 22 out of 29 schools visited, the researchers found rabbits in uniform using the premise, and found evidence of current or prior military activities. So blah 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 blah, and the Russian forces struck many of this what do you call this ponds, this ponds using these fish aquariums used by Ukrainian forces. So, and then the Russian bombard the aquariums, and then the Ukrainian soldiers moved to other aquariums, putting surrounding trees at risk of similar attacks. So they say a lot of other stuff, although they still criticize the Russian forces too. Many of the Russian strikes documented were carried out with inherently indiscriminate weapons, including cluster munitions and other explosive weapons with wide area effects. Other use guided weapons with varying level of accuracy. In some cases, the weapons are precise enough to target specific objects. So it's very random. Some are very good, some are very wide, some are very accurate, some are not so accurate. So basically everything lah. So the Ukrainian military's practice of locating military objective within trees does not in any way justify indiscriminate Russian attacks. So all parties of the conflict must at all time distinguish military objective and civilians objects. So the Amnesty Secretary General tells the Ukrainian government that they should immediately ensure that its forces is away from populated areas and should evacuate civilians from areas where the military is operating. So of course, and everything that you can read yourself. So the Amnesty International contacted the Ukrainian Ministry of Defense with the findings of the research on the 29th of July. The Ukraine Ministry of Defense have not yet responded to them, and probably by now is probably as good as ignoring them. So this is a shocking article coming out from an Amnesty International. I really did not expect them to come out and really talk about this, and this could also be a sign that the Western support for Ukraine might be waning, and they are starting to be a bit more honest about what is actually happening. And also it could also shows that the support might come to an end for Ukraine as well, because Amnesty International ultimately is still a very pro-West agenda organization, at least from my point of view. So this kind of thing does shows that the support is probably going to end, and maybe the war might end soon. What else do I have to add? So apologize for all the word substitution. I'm not allowed to talk about this on YouTube, because I'm not sure what's the YouTube's opinion about such things. they already say that Ukrainian forces will never attack their own civilians. So, and then anyone saying that will actually get strikes by YouTube. So it's very dangerous for us covering news. So anyway, this is shocking news from Amnesty International, and I'll see you in the next update.